Hello students, welcome to the YouTube channel of Next IAS. I am Anil Tiwari. I am back again with another session of daily news analysis. Today we have picked up very interesting 5 topics. In the mains, the big news, the Supreme Court's decision over the Tamil Nadu Governor's issue. That we will be covering in the mains. In prelim section, because your prelims is approaching, we will be covering first and foremost GenomeIndia Project. Because in January, GenomeIndia Project was congratulated by none other than our Prime Minister, and then recently we have seen that data has come out. And on the second article, we will be covering the regional rural banks, because there has been a scheme, one state, one regional rural bank, and that is important. And these banks are very important because if you see in economy, banking system is asked many often. So the third article will be India-UAE Relations, because one of the main dignitary from UAE or particularly Dubai is visiting India, and there have been calls to deepen the ties between India and UAE. So we will be discussing that. And then the fourth prelims article will be PM Mudra Scheme, because this scheme has completed 10 years and it has achieved a lot. We have to look into it, and this can be a prelims question in 2025. So this will be our today's discussion. Keep tuning in. We will jump into our today's discussion. Alright, so the first article is related to GenomeIndia Project. What is this genome? What is this project? So we all know the scientific theory behind every life is the genetic content. This genetic content is a code that basically translates into this whole body. So we have these codes in our cells that we call genes, and all the collection of all these genes available in a cell. It doesn't matter whether it is available in the nucleus or available outside the cell or in mitochondria, wherever. So whatever genes are there for a human being, those genes, the total collection of those genes, those codes will be called genome. So this genome is being basically studied. So all these codes out of which a life is basically formed, that has been studied. Now you will ask why they are studying these codes, because if you see that let's say there is a program and there is an issue with that program, if you get to access to the code behind the program and you know how to navigate through that code, agar aapko software engineering aati ho, then you can solve problems. What kind of problems? There might be bugs in the software, there might be issues, crashing might be happening, or that software might be getting certain other issues. You can resolve them. Similarly, on the same lines, if you get to know what the let's say genetic sequence is for humans, and for that matter for bacteria, for that matter viruses or any other animal, you can understand why diseases are happening, you can understand the diversity, you can understand how different medicines will impact different individuals, you can understand the predisposition of these individuals to different diseases. So certain families, or let's say certain people have predisposed conditions. They may be predisposed to Down syndrome, they may be predisposed to certain other disease, diabetes, or let's say heart attack, or many other things. Let's say recently corona virus has come. So imagine if we had all the data related to human genes before pandemic, and if we have conducted a study on these genes after pandemic, then we can clearly identify what are the changes that might have been there in people on large scale or individual scale because of that virus. So this study is very important with regards to therapeutic things, meaning that you can solve disease, or let's say you can study how humans are interacting with medicines, viruses, bacteria, or maybe you can predict in future what is going to happen. So very important thing that we do this genome study. Globally, this study has been done in 2003. It has been done in 2003. It started way back in the 90s, completed in 2003, and final step was taken in 2022. But in India, it has just recently completed 2024, 2025, whatever. So we are a little behind, but not that behind. So Indian genome study is this GenomeIndia Project. The world was the World Genome Project. So that was different. Enough said. Let's jump into a little bit of this study. What has happened? No need to remember every detail about this study. I will tell you what to remember, what not to remember. So this is very important, that 180 million genetic variants have been found, meaning that so many differences are there in different individuals. So the way they are conducting the study is that they are collecting samples from very different people. They are not collecting samples from one family, or let's say one city, or let's say one area. They are collecting from different ethnic groups. In that also they are collecting these samples from different non-related people. Then they are collecting from related people also. So they are doing all kinds of permutation and combination to come up with a better idea, better filter, because they are not, sequencing all the genes or the genomes available in India, because that will be very big project. They are only conducting around 10,000 people, so it has to be the optimal. So this is the news, and it will be important for GS3 biotechnology. 10,000 people have been chosen, and we collected certain samples, around 20,000 individual, 10,000 samples, all these things. And then there are, as I told, 85 populations are there, out of which 53 are non-tribal, and then 32 are tribal. So all these permutation combinations are there. So remember that a diverse set of people have been chosen. That is important for UPSC. Then, is it conducted for the whole population of India? No, only a few people. In thousands, only 20,000, 10,000. Alright, so remember that. Don't remember 1 lakh or 2 lakh people. Then, this is important that the data generated is stored where? It is stored at Indian Biological Data Center. Remember this, okay? And there have been participation by many institutions. So it is not that one institution is doing everything. It is many institutions participating in collecting, sampling, processing, reading the genetic data and everything. So many institutions have been participating. Don't need to remember all these institutions, remember, okay? So again, 180 million genetic variations have been identified. What we have identified, what are we going to do with this data? Very important. So we are going to basically look at, as I have explained earlier, variability in the response to a disease, or let's say predisposition towards any disease. So all these things are being looked at in these studies. You will ask again, I don't understand what is genome. You may still be confused. So very simply, think about, we have a cell, we are built out of cells, different cells are there in our body, that much you know. In that cell, we have a nucleus, meaning that an area is there where all the codes are stored. What are these codes? These codes are basically encrypted messages within our cell, which leads to creation of everything. All the proteins, all the organs, how you will look, how you will function, how you will, your psychological well-being, maybe, your tendency to do certain things. There are so many hidden things within that nucleus. There the DNA is stored. That DNA is called nuclear DNA. And then there are certain DNA and RNA, for that matter, I should not forget RNA. RNA is very important, is around the cell, around the nucleus. Some is in mitochondria also. So all that combined is called genome. That much you have to remember. So remember, everything, every code, DNA, RNA, whatever, present in a cell for an individual species is called DNA, or it's called genome. That is the official definition. You can see in this picture, there is this cell, this in that cell we have a genome. As I told, all the code available for everything is genome. So that genome is there. Now, certain part of that genome is stored in the nucleus in the form of chromosomes. So the building block is DNA and RNA, but they are arranged in different styles. So basically, this is a long chain of DNA RNA. We have to bind it together. How you will do it? You can do a spindle bind. You can put it in a different, maybe, spiral binding. But nature has decided that we will bind them over certain proteins, or let's say certain rods, histone proteins, and we will do the coiling. And that coiling will look like a chromosome. It looks very different. It looks in a different manner. It is an entity in itself, but think of it as a packing mechanism. That DNA is packed in a certain way. It's called chromosome. It's put in a concise location, and then it's put in the nucleus. So we have to basically pack very nicely. So we have packed into nucleus through chromosomes and everything. So this is this chromosome. Now what is gene? People ask, what is gene, sir? Then gene is, think of gene as a functional part of this long chain of DNA. So DNA is building block, but there is a functional part of that DNA that is called gene. So that will create protein. So gene is a sequence of DNA that will be creating protein. I will give you an example of a house. Think of a house. Okay. So just like house, there is a building block. So in house we have bricks. We have bricks. Out of bricks, what all things you can make? You can make a wall, you can make a tank, you can make a pillar, you can make a lot of things out of bricks. Similarly, out of DNA, you can make a lot of things. Functional, non-functional, many things. So all these things, when you hear about gene, it's built out of DNA only or RNA only. DNA or RNA only, but it will function. It will give you a protein. But if that particular sequence is not functioning, it is not giving any protein, this will not called gene. Okay, but it will form part of the genome, the whole code. So I think I have made you clear what is genome, the whole code, the everything is genome. Then there is certain section that can code for protein, that is called genes. Then certain section that cannot code, that is not called genes, that is simply called DNA, part of the genome. Alright, so this is DNA. How DNA looks? DNA looks like a helix, or let's say helical structure is there of DNA. This you must have heard in your school time. And then we have all these parts of a DNA, that we have phosphate group, we have then sugar group, phosphate sugar basically. Then we have nitrogen containing bases, ATGC. We have all these things, building blocks. No need to go too much in detail, but we will go a little bit. We will see that how a DNA is formed, deoxyribonucleic acid is formed. So फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट जीनोम के पार्ट क्या क्या होते हैं. तो जीनोम में हम देखते हैं कि सीक्वेंसिंग करते हैं. बेसिकली सीक्वेंसिंग कैसे करते हैं, दैट इज द इम्पॉर्टेंट डिस्कशन. सो वी बेसिकली बिल्ड आउट दिस जीनोम, वी मेक इट आउट, कम आउट, एंड देन इट ओपन्स अप एंड देन वी स्टडी इट. We study in chunks, we study in different manner, and we try to basically identify what are the base pairs are there. So there is one term which will be coined again and again, base and pair. So base pair is nothing but there are bases A, T, G, C, and they are always in a pair, A, T, G, C. And in RNA you have thymine replaced by uracil. So this is base pair. So basically genome sequencing is study of these base pairs. Alright, this is enough. And then what would be the application of this genome sequencing? I have discussed already. So you can basically categorize all these applications into different sectors. Okay, if you want to write in mains, then remember all these 5 headings. Okay, everything else you can remember. Okay, so start from where? You can start from where? So first and foremost, DNA की बात जो आपने सुनी होगी सबसे पहले, वो पुलिस के बारे में सुनी होगी कि पुलिस ने DNA फिंगरप्रिंट ले लिए, तो वहाँ से चालू करना. You can write the first and foremost forensic analysis. So you can basically identify individuals and you can basically identify biological relations. यानी कौन किसका बेटा है, कौन किसका बेटा नहीं, ये भी DNA से हम establish कर सकते हैं. Then you might have studied that okay, there have been study 23andMe, 24andMe. Basically people are doing this comparative analysis, that whom do I belong to, where do I come from. So all this ancestry and anthropology we can do with genome studying, genome sequencing. So you can map human migration, you can map people are coming from here and there. Iron migration theory. So British coined this theory that there has been an Aryan invasion in India and they destroyed the local population. But recently you have seen that in studies that people have found out that this is a false theory, because new genetic evidence has come out, but there is a lot of genetic content that is available in support of that theory. So all this DNA study can be done in anthropology, in migration studies. Humans have migrated from Africa. How do we know it? We know it because we have studied genetic content, because genes are basically repository of everything that happens to you also. So all these things are there. So you can do evolutionary study, you can study human evolution. If you compare chimpanzee's DNA sequence with us, you will see that 99.9% is same. There is some difference, and that difference will make us humans and then apes or chimpanzees. That's another thing. Then you can directly go to hospital. You can say medicine and medical applications. There are a lot of applications. For example, like you can study mutations, you can study treatments, that okay, personalized treatment can be done, drug response, cancer diagnostic. You can talk about any disease and you can say that okay, it will help the DNA sequencing will help. Very important, very important. Then public health, you can study public genetic content, and you can basically determine that okay, certain public population is predisposed to certain disease. You can basically other than that, what are the public challenges that you are facing? You are facing that antimicrobial resistance is there, that you can address. You can address if pandemic is there, you can address that also. So you can identify people who are predisposed to, let's say, certain bacteria or virus. So that can be done. Further, you can go for environment. You can go that okay, in environment we can have bioremediation, we can have maybe protected trees, we can protect trees, animals, we can revive them. Recently you have seen a wolf pack has been, let's say, pair of wolf have been brought into the world through genetic studies, genetic sequencing. All these things are there. In agriculture, there are a lot of application. If you sequence any crop, anything, then you can also do all these studies that you do on humans. Then you can analyze the soil bacteria, their genetic content, and then you can do study, and then you can modify, you can change, you can brought a new type of bacteria and anything, and you can basically do many things. Animal husbandry, that is also a good area to go. So all these things are basically application of genome sequencing, very important for your mains. So remember all these 5 areas, very logical. You go to agriculture, you go to environment, you go to health, you go to forensics, you go to anthropology and ancestry, and then finally you can go to public health. What are the other similar projects? There are 4 similar projects that I will want to discuss. Indi-Gen program. This was basically CSIR initiative for Indians from diverse ethnic backgrounds, similar program. Then we had One Day One Genome initiative, in which we were trying to study bacterial DNA, department of biotechnology, because we were interested in certain disease. Then we have Human Genome Project, the big project that was completed in 2022. Earlier it was completed in 2003, completely completed in 2022. Alright. Then we have 1 lakh genome project by UK. So NHS के कुछ मरीज थे, NHS नेशनल हेल्थ सर्विस यूके में है, उसे कुछ मरीजों का हमने रेयर डिसीज के लिए जीनोम स्टडी किया था. देन इंटरनेशनल HAP map project, different ethnicities and their genomes were studied. So all these projects are there. Try to attempt this question on this particular issue, very important issue. We will jump to the next topic. Alright, so the next article is very small article, and we will go towards facts very quickly because this is related to regional rural banks. Government has launched that we will be creating one state, one regional rural bank initiative, and all the amalgamation will take place, that all regional rural bank that are existing in many states, different level, will be amalgamated into one. Very important because we want to improve their efficiency and everything. So Finance Ministry has launched One State-One RRB, 11 states to have one RRB from May 1. GS3 banking sector, it will be important. So states like Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Gujarat, West Bengal and Rajasthan, all these will be having one RRB, and this is being done under 23A1 of RRB Act. So there is an act called RRB Act. Now you can guess it that okay, RRBs are being run under this particular act. Very important for your prelims. Through which act RRBs are established? Regional Rural Bank Act. Okay, I will tell you the date, 1976. Basically 1975, based out of a committee report, through ordinance, these banks were established to ensure credit availability for the rural area. Because at that time, banks were very different. They were working very different. It is not as easy as it is today. You should not go to anywhere. You can open your phone and you can open an account. Earlier, it was not so easy. So for rural area, this was recommended way back in 1975. But there was an act, and overall, these banks are basically regulated by none other than RBI, and with basically supervisory nature work is done by the NABARD. So these two banks, RBI and NABARD, don't get confused, supervised by NABARD and regulated by RBI. Under the Banking Regulation Act, RBI Act, different acts are there. In different acts, different provisions apply, and different way they are regulated. But remember, overall, that RBI is the regulator of RRBs. So there was a Vyas committee, recent committee. This is not the other committee through which RRBs were established. Vyas committee that is related to this amalgamation. So 2003 this amalgamation started, and now it is culminating. So there are certain category of banks that are called scheduled commercial bank because they come under RBI Act. There is a schedule in RBI Act. So this schedule lists a lot of banks under which RRBs come. That is important for you to remember. There are other banks, private banks, government banks, other banks are also in that scheduled commercial bank, but we have RRBs into them. Then we have this history of RRB that yes, Narasimhan committee recommended and then RRBs were established. It is fine, remember it. And then there was an act which I already told. The nature was that they will provide credit to the rural area. Then first ever was established in the under the sponsorship of Syndicate Bank. There was a bank called Syndicate Bank. There is a bank called Syndicate Bank. In its commercial sponsorship, first RRB was established. That is called Pratham Gramin Bank. उसका नाम भी प्रथम ही था, तो easy to remember. Pratham Gramin Bank. 2 October 1975. Why 2nd October has been chosen? You can guess in the comment section. 2nd October because Gandhiji's birthday is there. So then we have functions. All the normal functions that banks do, RRBs also do. All right. So no need to go in detail that okay what they do. Special things you can remember that government operations are also conducted like Manrega, wage disbursement and then pensions and other things. बाकी UPI mobile banking ये सब है और banking services, other banking services भी provide करते हैं. This is very important that you remember who owns these regional rural banks, RRBs. So RRBs are 50% owned by central government. Basically the ownership is 50% in a RRB of the central government, and then there is a sponsor bank that will have 35% and then state government will have 15% in an equity in the RRB, and it is on fixed proportion based. And I have already told that RBI is the OG regulator, the bigger regulator, and then NABARD is also supervisory in nature. It is regulating. All right. So this is it for this article, very short article. Remember all these facts important for your prelims and try to attempt this question, very important. You submit your answers in the comment section. So the next article relates to the visit of Crown Prince of Dubai. This is India-UAE Relations and the Crown Prince of Dubai. What is Dubai? You will ask. Dubai is a city or Emirates. It is an emirate. Basically, it is part of UAE, United Arab Emirate. So the Arab Peninsula is there. Many Arab countries are there. Saudi Arabia is there. Oman is there. Then other countries are there on the peninsula. On that peninsula, there are certain emirates that have come together, just like United Kingdom, UK. They are called UAE. On those 7 or 8 emirates, we have Dubai as one of the emirates. Crown Prince of that Dubai has come, and he is also Defense Minister. He is also Deputy Prime Minister of UAE. His name is Hamdan bin Mohammed Al Maktoum. So he has visited India and he is trying to talk into, let's say we are trying to cooperate further. We have a great relation with UAE. We are good with economic terms, people to people contact, cultural ties, historical ties, all these are there. So we will look into India-UAE relations a little bit. Specifically for prelims perspective, majorly because prelims is approaching. GS2 international relations, this is very important. So there are political ties which are really nice, that both the leaders of both countries have been visiting each other very frequently. And then earlier the diplomatic ties were enhanced to basically comprehensive strategic partnership in 2017. Before that we started in 1972. So this is political ties. Then further if you look at on multilateral level, we are very much aligned with organizations like I2U2, BRICS. All these are very important, and UAE has been a special guest in recently concluded G20 summit. Economically talking, the relations are running much deeper. That we are basically having around $84 billion trade, and they are basically for them we are the second largest trading partner. For us, they are the third largest trading partner, but the second largest export destination. So maximum exports from India, second number export goes to UAE, and overall trade, they are coming at third place. For them, we are coming at second place, overall trade. Then at least $20 to $21 billion they have been investing, and they have pledged around $75 billion in infrastructure. And then we have signed two important agreements. One that is settles currencies between these two countries, that is Rupee and AED, between them 2023. And then we have also signed basically BIT, Bilateral Investment Treaty, through which we can invest each other's economy. Very important that these two treaties have been signed. Further, if we look at, then we have strong air connectivity with basically UAE. Then we have great remittances that has been coming to India. And if you see between these 24 years from 2000 to 2024, we have seen around 22 billion dollars coming to India. So that is a very huge amount. And then sovereign wealth fund from UAE, because these people are kings and they have a lot of money, so they have created a sovereign wealth fund, and that is investing in India on a larger scale. And then we have these Rupee credit card exchange or card exchange. Then we have UPI and their payment system collaborating with each other. So you can see economically we are very strongly connected with each other. Then if you look at cultural and people to people contact, that Indians are very respected there. They are now started getting the blue collar jobs, better jobs than earlier, the menial jobs. And also we have seen that recently a temple, BAPS temple, have been established. Indian IIT has been established in Abu Dhabi. Then we can see that Indian films are very famous, yoga is very famous. And then we have festivals that have been celebrated in UAE. UAE is also trying to become cosmopolitan and trying to become diverse, because homogeneity is liked by everyone, that everyone should look alike, have one thing, every common culture, but that is not sustainable. That will not make you survive in a longer run. So that has been realized economically. If you see that if your economy is basically relying on petroleum, then it will run out and you will be starved to death. So they are trying to have a cultural life, have a balanced approach towards everything. So they are incorporating many new things, that they are inviting people to establish educational setup and then many other things. So around 35% of population is formed by Indians. That is very, very big. A little bit about location of UAE. You must understand that it is part of the Arabian Peninsula. It is at the southeastern point of this larger peninsula, where Saudi Arabia is there, Oman is there, Yemen is there. All these countries are there, and southeast this UAE is there. And on this basically we have largely desert biome. Basically we have desert all over the UAE, and then we have Persian Gulf and Hormuz Strait on the other side. So we will look at the map also. So if you can see in this map, stay focused, we have Saudi Arabia, we have Oman, then we have Iran on the other side of the sea, then we have Bahrain here, Qatar here, and then this is UAE basically. Alright, this is UAE. Then a little part of Oman is here also. A little part of Oman is here also. This. So this is the map of UAE. So in the north you can see that it is bordering Persian Gulf, and then on the south and west it is basically land border, having a large land border with Saudi Arabia. On the southeast part we have Oman, and we have this Musandam peninsula that I have already talked about on the Strait of Hormuz. Strait of Hormuz is a choke point. It is a very narrow area through which ships go, so very important. And then northeast we have proximity with Iran across the Strait of Hormuz. And then all these kingdoms are there, Emirates are there in the UAE. That is 7 Emirates. The names are written, you can read. So 7 Emirates are there. Then we have important ports, very important, Jebel Ali port. This is part of India Middle Eastern Economic Corridor, IMEC. Jebel port, remember for your prelims, Jebel port is part of IMEC. And then there are other ports, Khalifa port, Rashid port. Then in the western UAE if you see, mostly desert है. सऊदी अरेबिया की साइड जब जाओगे तो डेजर्ट मिलेगा, बट अगर तुम इधर ओमान की तरफ आओगे तो आपको 1000 माउंटेन्स मिलेंगी. 1000 माउंटेन्स के साथ साथ आपको मिलेगा रस अल खमिया इन फुजैरा, जो पार्ट ऑफ दिस यूएई है. देन रिसेंट विजिट में अगर आप देखो, नॉट सो मच न्यूज इज देयर, बट they have basically talked about that we will cooperate on Make in India and Make in UAE, and then also we will deepen the strategic ties, defense ties, economic ties, and many other things, and we will collaborate over technology, space. Recently you have seen UAE has launched people into space. They are trying to launch satellites also, so on that ISRO can collaborate. So all these things are basically discussed. Try to attempt this question and submit your answer in the comment section. Now, very important news, that 10 years of Mudra Yojana has completed. Very important for you to know for 2025 prelims. This Mudra Yojana is important because it is related to social justice. So any scheme related to social justice or government schemes in general are very important. and if 10 years are completing, Janani Suraksha Yojana 10 years completed, UPSC has asked question. Mudra Yojana 10 years have completed, UPSC might ask question. So what is this scheme is all about? This scheme is basically refinancing scheme. So people, or let's say government, is asking banks to give loans to SC, ST, OBC, women, entrepreneurs, business people, because they usually don't have maybe land records, because lands rights are not there with them, or let's say they will not have movable, immovable property. So if they go to bank and they will not get any loan, let's say if they want to establish a little eatery, or let's say some MSME or some packaging startup, but they will not get loan. So this Mudra Yojana, what it does is it tries to provide collateral free loans, that okay, you are establishing a venture, then you can get a loan, and then this Mudra will refinance the bank. So bank will have less exposure to such loans, because there is a chance that default might happen, because these are small businesses, they may not run, they may not return. So all these things are taken care of by this Mudra Yojana. So remember the crux of this Yojana. It was launched in 2015, none other than by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and then now it has jumped the largest sum that has been provided as a loan to 20 lakh. So there are categories of these loans. We will look at Shishu, Tarun, and other categories are there. We will look at. So the vision, mission, and the purpose of Mudra Yojana, you have understood what they are trying to do, trying to establish the world benchmark to provide credit through these all banking system, to make economy very inclusive, very participatory, that everyone can participate and grow. We will see how much it has been successful. See here, there were some challenges with the micro enterprises. Challenges like, you must understand that there was a challenge to get financing. This was the biggest challenge. Then to get to access to some technology, that was a bigger challenge. That knowledge gap was there. Then we have all the issue with information asymmetry, that people will not have information. Then policy advocacy was not there, because people, let's say they have elected representatives, but these initiatives were not talked about as much. So all these challenges were there. Skill development issue was there, scaling was there, then profitability was not focused upon. All these challenges were there. So Mudra Yojana was launched keeping in mind that financing issue will be resolved. So it issues collateral free institution credit, as I told, up to 20 lakh provided by enlisted entities. We call them member lending institutions, or let's say some bank, non-financing banks are there, NBFCs are there that may provide loan, then scheduled commercial banks are there that may provide loan. So all these things, microfinance institution, all they will provide loans to these people, and Mudra will refinance them. So Mudra is not a bank in itself, or it is not providing loans. Remember that Mudra is not providing loans. It is providing refinancing to the institution that are providing loans to the people. Very important for you to remember. Then there are categories of loans. Shishu loan up to 50,000. Then we have Kishore loans 50,000 to 5 lakhs. Then we have Tarun over 5 lakh till 10 lakhs. Then up to 20 lakhs, 10 lakh and 20 lakh. We have Tarun Plus. So as iPhone comes, Plus, Pro, all these things. So here we have Shishu, Kishore, Tarun Plus. Remember them. UPSC might ask question in prelims. Okay. Now, what is the success or achievement within these 10 years? Very good success report. See, 52 crore loans have been sanctioned. Very big number, 52 crore. And worth 32 lakh crore. 32 trillion rupees loan have been issued. And MSME credit, if you see, MSME credit has grown because of this Mudra loan, that 8.51 lakh crore was there in 2014, but it is now touching 30 lakh crore, projected to touch 30 lakh crore in this financial year 2025. And if you see, around 68% of all the Mudra loans, be it Shishu, Kishore, Tarun or anything, Tarun Plus, have been issued. 70% के आसपास women को जा रहा है. Remember, 68% के आसपास, 67-68% के आसपास ही women का turnout भी होता है voting में. They always turn out larger than men. So here also, Mudra business starting, women are leading. 68% loans are issued to women, and 50% are to SC, ST and OBCs. 50% loans. Then average loan size, it is ट्रिपल 38,000 से अब 1-1.5 लाख के आसपास पहुंच गया, 1 लाख के आसपास पहुंच गया है. तो लोन का जो सम था वो भी अब बढ़ गया है, और लोन जो है वो माइक्रो स्मॉल से बढ़ के अब तरुण कैटेगरी में, तरुण प्लस कैटेगरी में जा रहे हैं. यू कैन सी दीज पाई चार्ट्स, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू सी. 50% of the loan is issued to the general category, but other 50% is to the OBC, SC, SC. But out of these, 68% is with women and 11% is for minority. And then if you see the projected loan number is 30 lakh crore, and then you can see Shishu is dominating, that is around 92%, then Kishore, and then Tarun and Tarun plus. Top state, if you can see here, Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh, Karnataka, West Bengal, Bihar and Maharashtra. In union territories, Jammu Kashmir is leading, and IMF has recognized this scheme as one of the best, most inclusive entrepreneurship promoting scheme. So on this, try and read this question and submit your answer in the comment section below. So the last and the most interesting article has come, the governor's issue and the Supreme Court's judgment. Very important for you to understand right now that what this important judgment basically means to Indian polity, to center-state relations, to the office of governor, to the autonomy of states and the legislative function of these states. Very important. So this article came in the Indian Express and it appeared in the Hindu also, in many other newspapers, that Supreme Court limits the governor's power. What power does Supreme Court limiting? What has been said by the Supreme Court? It is very interesting to hear about it, but to get to the bottom of it, that what was the issue going on, why these states were fighting so many cases in Supreme Court. So there is Kerala. Kerala is fighting for around 8 to 10 cases, 8 to 10 bills that are pending with the now gone governor of the Kerala, now governor of the Bihar, Arif Mohammad Khan. Then we have Punjab earlier, which was struggling when the different party was there in power. Then Tamil Nadu, the judgment is on Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu was struggling with 10 bills. So why these bills were pending with governor? What was governor doing with these bills? We'll understand it very quickly and very nicely. So it will come in your GS2 polity, state legislature, center state relation and judiciary. And remember, judiciary also used one important power, that is Article 142. This power was used in Ram Janmabhoomi case. So very big power has been used by Supreme Court. So this must have been a big deal. Now, what Supreme Court has said, so UPSC already asked question on governor, office of governor in both prelims and mains. So it is non-negotiable that you don't know about this topic. You should know in very great detail. So Supreme Court said that all these 10 bills are deemed passed now. This is a big deal, that governor's job has been done by Supreme Court. What was the logic given by Supreme Court for such an action? The logic was given that sitting on bills for such a long period of time is illegal and erroneous in law. Very big words used by Supreme Court. And it has used Article 142 to render complete justice, and the bills are considered as deemed as passed. So big embarrassment for the office of governor. Such a big office, such a constitutional post, and such a decision has come out against it. So what powers did that governor used to keep these bills by not passing? So in Tamil Nadu specifically, so in general, governor has power under 163 and 200, Article 163 and 200. So 163 basically says that governor has to work according to the advice of the Chief Minister and Council of Minister. Okay, the Council of Minister advises. Unless there is a discretion, or let's say constitutional discretion is there for the governor to act upon. So that's exception, but in general they have to act according to the advice of the Chief Minister and Council of Minister. The Article 200 is related to the legislative power of the governor, meaning that how a bill will be assented by the governor. So just like in union, when the parliament passes a bill, goes to president says, okay, the bill is now an act. Similarly, in states, the council of the legislature, state legislature, Vidhan Sabhas, they basically pass the bill, or let's say legislative council is there, then both of them pass the bill, it goes to the governor gives assent, and the bill becomes an act. But there are other things which governor can do. Governor can basically grant the assent, withhold the assent, or reserve the will for the president, or return for reconsideration. So governor can say, except money bill cannot be returned, they have to give assent because it is prior recommendation के बाद ही आता है वो. तो वो बिल को भेज सकते हैं वापस कि आप इसमें कुछ करेक्शन कर लो, बट अगर वो बिल वापस आता है तो फिर उन्हें असेंट देनी ही देनी पड़ती है। बट लूफहोल कहाँ से निकला, दैट इज वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग। सो इन द प्रोवाइजो ऑफ आर्टिकल 200, मतलब कि एक्स्ट्रा चीज जुड़ी हुई है आर्टिकल 200 में, वो एक्स्ट्रा चीज क्या है, उसमें शब्द का इस्तेमाल है एज सुन एज पॉसिबल। किस सिचुएशन के लिए, तो वो आर्टिकल कहता है कि गवर्नर मस्ट रिटर्न द बिल एज सुन एज पॉसिबल फॉर रिकंसिडरेशन। सो गवर्नर कैन डू रिकंसिडरेशन, दैट ओके इट कैन सेंड बैक द बिल टू द हाउस, बट उस पर लिखा हुआ है कि एज सुन एज पॉसिबल कर दें रिटर्न। बस अब गवर्नर उसको रख के बैठ जाता है, वो कह रहा है मैं रिटर्न करूंगा, शायद करता हूं, जल्दी करता हूं, तो वो एक तरीके का उनके पॉकेट में चला जाता है, इसीलिए इसको पॉकेट वीटो भी बोलने लग गए थे। तो एक टाइप की वीटो होती है, आप इतना सिंपली समझो, इतना डिटेल में मत जाओ, कि गवर्नर यूज दिस एज सुन एज टर्म फॉर इट्स कीपिंग द बिल फॉर मे बी इंडेफिनिट टाइम। ऑलराइट, सेकेंडली जो एक चीज थी कि अगर रिकंसिडरेशन के लिए दे दिया है और अगर वो वापस आता है बिल, इफ द बिल रिटर्न्स आफ्टर रिकंसिडरेशन, द गवर्नर शैल गिव असेंट टू द बिल। बट दिस टाइम इन तमिलनाडु what governor did, governor reserved the bill for the presidential consideration. That Supreme Court has said that this is not right. So we will look at it, what Supreme Court has said. So in 2016 there was a case, Navam Revia case. In this case Supreme Court has already said, Supreme Court was angry on this part also, that governor has not adhered to, or let's say given heed to the earlier judgments in this regard. So in this case Supreme Court said that governor cannot withhold the assent indefinitely. They have to give assent one way or the other. In other 2023 case also Supreme Court said the same thing, that okay, you cannot basically hijack the machinery and not let the elected government work. So all these things, and now 2025 case, the Supreme Court has said that you only have three ways. You either give assent, or you basically withhold your assent, or you can send back for the reconsideration or for the president. So you can say yes, you can withhold your assent basically, okay, or you can basically send it back to the president. These three rights are there for you. Then Supreme Court also said that under Article 200 you have to act according to the advice of Council of Minister, except if you have discretion. Okay, under Article 163(1) or 160 or 200. So if you have discretion, then you can act on your own, but if not, then you have to act according to the advice of the Council of Minister. That is the second thing that Supreme Court said. Third thing that Supreme Court said, that there is no absolute veto or pocket veto. Said no, it is not available. Then fourth thing, the Supreme Court said that for the first instance only you can send it to President's reconsideration. Meaning that कि कुछ दिन के लिए बैठ गए एक बिल पे कि ठीक है देते हैं, फिर हाउस को कंसिडरेशन के लिए दे दिया, फिर जब कंसिडर करके वापस आया तो फिर प्रेसिडेंट को दे दिया। तो ऐसे बिल्कुल गोल गोल घुमा नहीं सकते। आपके पास अगर बिल आया तो पहले बार में ही या तो रख लो, मत दो, प्रेसिडेंट को देना है तो पहले बार में ही दे दो। So this Supreme Court has said that in first instance you have to give it to President's reconsideration and not after House basically returns the bill to you, unless there is a different bill. Sometimes what happens, when Governor sent back the bill to the House, then House gives a different bill altogether. That in that case you can send it to President's consideration. Then Supreme Court very importantly set a timeline. Supreme Court said that if not according to the Council of Ministers advice, you sent a bill to the presidential consideration, after the consideration you have to pass it within 3 months, or let's say you have to send it within 3 months, and also if it comes back you have to sign it within a month. So 3 months and 1 month, दो टाइमलाइन सेट किए हैं कि आपको प्रेसिडेंट के रिकंसिडरेशन के लिए अगर भेजना है 3 महीने में भेज दो, और जैसे ही रिकंसिडरेशन से आएगा आप 1 महीने में उसको हाँ बोल दो, उसको असेंट दे दो। ये सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने टाइम लिमिट लगा दी। ये सिग्निफिकेंस क्या होगा? सिग्निफिकेंस होगा कि जो हाउस हैं, स्टेट के अंदर जो लेजिस्लेटिव हाउसेस हैं, दे विल गेट बैक देयर ऑटोनॉमी, द सेंटर स्टेट रिलेशंस विल इंप्रूव बिकॉज द ऑफिस ऑफ गवर्नर विल हैव लेस डिस्क्रिशनरी पावर. Also the state government will now function according to the democratic principles rather than whims of the unelected office of the governor. Further we will see that time bound action will be taking. So जल्दी जल्दी काम होगा, ये सब चीजें, पॉकेट वीटो भी नहीं रहेगा. All these are significance regarding this decision. Now let us look at other provisions of governor very quickly. Who appoints the governor? The president. He works under his pleasure, okay, under the president's pleasure. He can resign to the president. He should be at least 35 years of age and Indian citizen, and the maximum term is 5 years of age. So 5 years. So this is the basic thing about governor appointment related things. Then executive power is there under Article 164. They can appoint chief minister, and they can appoint other offices like advocate general and other offices they appoint. Then in legislative powers, 174, they can summon and dissolve the state legislature. They can give assent to bills under Article 200. They can basically address the first session of the House. 213, they can issue ordinance just like president, Article 213. Remember all these articles and all these powers, okay. Article 202, they ensure the annual financial budget is tabled in the House. They also recommend on the money bill. Then pardon, grant pardon and other things under Article 161. They have a dual role, that they act as a head of the state and the nominal head of the state, just like president at the central level, and they basically act as a link between center and state. So dual role is there. Then they have certain discretionary power, like they can appoint a party as a leading party chief minister when there is a hung assembly and nobody has a majority. Then they can also reserve bills to the recommendation of the president. This is discretionary. And then recommending for the presidential rule under Article 356, that is also discretionary power. But there are challenges like political bias is there, that okay, if there is a difference between parties ruling at the center and the state, then there are a lot of issues. And then misuse of Article 356 happen, whereby the governor sent reports falsely, or let's say it is not justified, not based in facts, and the government in the state is dismissed. Then we have delayed assent to the bill, the recent case of Tamil Nadu or Kerala or Punjab for that matter. Then we have administrative interferences. Basically, governor tries to interfere in different aspects. Now, there are two commissions. One is Sarkariya Commission and the other is Punchi Commission. All of them have recommended on different aspects of the governor. For example, on appointments, both of them sort of said that okay, they should be outside from state, not politically very involved. This Punchi Commission also said that they should not be too active in the politics. On the basis of consultation, both of them argued that okay, chief minister should be taken into consultation. For tenure, they have said that okay, fix the tenure for 5 years. You cannot dismiss them willy-nilly. That's where the office of governor becomes the most challenging, because they can be dismissed anytime because they act on a pleasure of president. So the role, both of them said that okay, neutral role should be played, a constitutional post is there, then you should not act as an agent of the center. So that sort of thing both of them have been arguing. Then discretionary powers, both of them argued that discretionary power should be reduced, they should be justified, they should be codified, they should be used sparingly, they should not be used just like that. And then hung assembly, they have told that okay, they give some time for the largest party to form the government, and this Punchi Commission also said the same thing, that clear guidelines should be there, that okay, which party should come first, let's say the largest party should come first, or pre-poll alliance should come first, second, then other things should happen. And then president rule, again, you should use very justifiably, or report should be sent on the facts. Then removal arbitrary नहीं होना चाहिए, थोड़ा consideration करना चाहिए. Supreme Court ने बड़ी अच्छी line last में कही है, that you can use as a way forward. The line I will read verbatim, very beautiful line, listen carefully. In times of conflict, he must be the harbinger of consensus and resolve issues, comma, lubricating the functioning of the state machinery by his sagacity and wisdom, and not run it into a standstill. He must be the catalyst and not an innovator. All his action must be held, keeping in mind the dignity of the high constitutional office that he occupies. Very good way forward that you can write. Alright, attempt this question, mains question, and we will meet again next day. Tab tak ke liye, goodbye, Shubh Ratri.